If you're watching us, I'm so glad that you have joined us. This is Woman 360 and I am Judy Ngulube. Today I'm hosting a beautiful woman who's going to talk about so many things, because part of what she does every day is inspire, make us get closer to God, give us what is relevant when it comes to the issues of everyday life and our spirituality, and of course, to just narrow it down, Christianity and what role it plays in our lives every day. And because she's a woman, we've got that bias. She's so passionate about women empowerment, and how you as a woman can actually be that pillar in your family, that person who, you know, can be all round, can be all 360 degrees of a woman. But before we get into the program, I met another lady who makes beautiful cakes. She makes themed cakes like no one has. I'm sure you've seen the pictures flashing on your screens right now. Now, Sapiso is a person who is so passionate and talented when it comes to the kitchen. Whenever people talk about a woman's place in the kitchen, well, this time we've turned that statement into a positive one to say, yes, I'm in the kitchen, I'm going to bake, and I'm going to make something awesome. Let's see what Sapiso has for us. And of course, she's also giving us tips on what are the tricks to make that pastry to the best of your ability, even if you're in the kitchen for the first time. So let's go to Sapiso, then join me on the other side.
My name is Chungu. Though I make cakes every day, it would be funny to note that I don't have a sweet tooth. So I'll bake every day, but I don't even taste my cakes. But cake-wise, I like the artistic part of cakes. I like telling a story through my cakes. My cake journey started way back from childhood. I started baking way back with my mom. She was a baker. She would send me, I would always sit next to her, such that I learned even how to bake a cake on a brazier if you don't have an oven. But my cake serious journey started 1 year, 7 months ago, when my two girls, Ashley and Joy, the other one was turning 10, the other one was turning 2. And I needed to order 2 cakes. At that point, I was quite stressed out with cash. I was broke, and I thought, well, let me give it a try. Let me try out and see how far this can go. Maybe I can. So after encouragement from family, from friends, I gave it a go. I baked 2 cakes, and they looked good. Thereafter, after some people saw the pictures on Facebook, my school teacher back then, she was like, these cakes are good. Make something for my daughter. I sold to her. Then another order came, then another order came. Then we are here today. Today, we are going to look at a cheese burger cake. So we are going to have our chocolate cake here. We already have chocolate cake baked already. And we are going to turn this chocolate cake into a cheese burger cake with cookies and some juice. Number 1 tip for a clean kitchen is having everything I need in order. So if it's an early morning or it's late night and I have to finish working on a cake, I make sure everything is in place. So sometimes I call through home and say, A, B, C, D, put them for me this side, so that once I'm there, I just run through the process. So this is an already baked 6-inch cake. We have 2 of them, so we are going to sandwich. The other one is going to be our bottom bun. The other one is going to be our top bun. So after baking all the time, it's a personal choice. I like doing that. I always cling wrap my cakes so that they don't get dry as they're cooling. So we are going to remove the first part of our cake. Okay, so my favorite knife and this. So we are going to remove our cake from the tin. This knife helps us to just, all right, and yeah, there we go. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to level our cake. This is going to be our bottom bun. So we're going to level it. after that, we're going to turn it upside down so that we can start cutting it off and shaping it into a bun. So as we know, I'm going to cut it off. I want my bun to have the actual bun size. So we are going to shape this. As we know, buns are not that, they are not even. So we are going to just curve the edge a bit. So I've noticed I've put my cake on the turntable. This is every baker's best friend. So this turntable allows me to switch, turn around my cake, play around with it without me have to struggling like turning it all around. So this is going to even out and easy out my work. Okay, so this is our bottom bun. It's almost done. So we are going to crumb coat it. A crumb coat is important. Just hold all the crumbs around the cake so that as we put the final coat, either it's buttercream, fino whip or fondant, the crumbs don't affect the outer part. So this helps us to clean out our cake. So we're just going to do a light crumb coat. This is very important. Cakes move. So this will help me to hold it out so it doesn't move around. Done with our crumb coat. We'll just try to level it out a bit because this has an effect on how the final product looks. So if our crumb coat is shabby and is not neat and wiped, then even when we put the fondant, the last covering, it's also going to be shabby and bumpy. So we'll clean it a bit before we can chill it. So our cake is ready for chilling, so see you after 15 minutes. While our cake is chilling, we are going to make the toppings for our cake. So we're going to make 3 things. We're going to make our lettuce, then we're going to make our cheese, tomato and onions, or 4. Cheese, tomato, lettuce and onions. So we are ready and set with our fondant. We're going to use this white one. We're going to draw it out, color it with some maroon food color with a brush, chop it into onions. This is our onions. This is going to be for our lettuce, colored with food gel. This is going to be for our cheese, and this is our tomato. So we are all set now. Our toppings are done and ready. So we have our lettuce here, all colored out. We have our tomatoes, red onions. Look at the effects. Then we have our cheese. Of course, we used yellow colored fondant. Then at the end, we got I put some water and a bit of yellow color and painted through just to give it the shiny, cheesy effect. So yeah, we are ready to cover our cake. Ta-da! We are done. So this is our cheeseburger cake. So we got our buns. We colored brown food color together with yellow to bring out the bun effect. Then after covering, we colored it a bit with a brush with ivory food color and vodka. Then here is our lettuce. As you can see, our lettuce is there. We have our tomatoes, we have onions. Wow, and the patty. I love the patty so much because it's crunchy. It looks meaty. So this, if If you want to learn how to do this, this is a combination of melted chocolate, marshmallow, and rice cocoa pops. So you melt your chocolate and your marshmallow in 2 separate bowls. Mix them. As they are mixing, you can quickly add in your rice cocoa pops. Start kneading with your fingers. Then you're going to have that finish. Then we have our vegetables. You can see it's dripping. You can see the mustard there, which is a mixture of glucose and food coloring. Then we have our French fries. My favorite part. I love fries. So these French fries, I made the cookie dough, rolled it out, cut it into French fries, baked it for about 15 to 20 minutes, then airbrushed it with a bit of lustre dust. We have our tomato ketchup there. So all covered in fondant and happy feasting. This has been Siweso from Flower Shower Cakes. Keep watching Women 360.
Thank you so much for watching Woman 360. Be part of us by going to our Woman 360 page on Facebook. Like it and be part of our discussions, not only today, but even for later on. Be just, interactive with us as we get into the world of the woman. Earlier on, before we went to Sapiso, I was talking about Prophetess Mwaka Twajira Yesu. Now, she is a woman who is very passionate about women and uplifting each other, things that we're also passionate about here on Woman 360, to celebrate, to elevate, to inspire each other as women, holding each other's hands, and of course, incorporating the man as well, because we are in coexistence. So today we're going to be talking about so many things, because I know she has one leg in Zambia, the other leg in the States. So I've got so many questions for her in regards to the Global Village, a woman's existence in Zambia. But how are you? And it's always such a pleasure to have you on Woman 360.
I am excited to be here, Judy. Thank you so much for the opportunity once again.
And thank you so much for having come here as well. Now, with you being in Zambia and being in the States, you are going here, you're there, because you've got homes in both places.
Right.
When I hear people talk about Western influence on the Zambian populace, the women especially, what comes to your mind? What do you think of when you hear that?
The Western influence?
Mm-hmm.
Do
you think positive or negative when you say Western influence on the Zambian woman?
I think a little negative, because, having lived abroad for so many years, I've noticed the family as abroad have really become disintegrated. Mm-hmm. People literally just come in and out. They hardly have family time together. And, and then when I come to Zambia and I see how people want to be so westernized, and I'm like, you people, you don't know what we have. You don't know how rich our culture is. And then when you're abroad, you appreciate home much more. So for those of us who live abroad, we're like clinging on to every piece of culture, because, it makes you feel closer to home, the family values, the respect for elders, that kind of thing. So I think it's both positive and negative.
Okay.
I would say, yes.
You are on the pulpit in both places.
Yes.
The difference when you are talking to, I'm sure when you're standing there, there's so many young women who look up to you, who come to you in confidence, who come to you to talk about issues that they're going through.
Right. Being
Being a woman in the 21st century is a different ballgame altogether.
Totally.
Does your message differ?
Not at all. And that's the beauty with the gospel. And you see, even in the Western world, materially, yes, they may have everything, but they still avoid, because the suicide rate there is very high, depression is very high, and that is because the family is very disintegrated over there. The beautiful thing about our African culture is the close family, the close community. Even neighbors are like family, whereas there, people are so busy making money. It's very difficult to really have like a real relationship, because they're working like 18 hours a day. So when do you have time for those family ties or social ties? Yeah.
You're very family oriented. And most of the time, in most of your messages, you do put that in. When you see most of the African society sort of adopting the Western culture, what message do you put through? How do you pass it through to them? Because everyone keeps on talking about how it's difficult to get enough money to just accommodate other people into your family. But like you've said, that's one of the cultures and some of the identities that we have as Africans.
Right, right. And I believe, Judy, ministry begins at home. I love preaching, I love empowering people, but it has to start in my family, because what good am I if I inspire everybody I'm so nice to, everybody help, and then my own family is disintegrating? It's got to start from there. The testimony has to be there. And this is why my husband really releases me to do what I do, because when I'm home, I'm really home. I take care of him, I take care of the kids, I'm pleasant, I'm happy. As you see me, is how I am at home. That is so important. And there are too many ministers who are just wonderful to everybody, but at home they're like zombies. They're like Draculas.
You give everyone all the energy out there. Then
Exactly. And you go home and you are, no, our families deserve the best.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, there's another thing that, you know, comes to mind when I'm speaking to you, because you are a female clergy, and when someone says a church girl, when we were having a production meeting before we had this show right now, you know, we do some discussions, and everyone was saying, I think here you're attacking Pentecostal girls and whatnot. When you talk about the church girl, everyone rushes to the Pentecostal. So I'm giving a disclaimer right now, right here. It's not Pentecostal people we're talking about. The tag church girl today has got another tag altogether, I can say. When you say church girl, people will be like, it's someone who's decent, and once they get to know the ways of the world, they will just backslide, and then it will be so hard to get them back to the church. And then others will talk about girls who've done it all, then let go, then come to church. And there's so much that social media has to put when it comes to the issue of church girl. Your take on that one?
It depends on how you are brought up. I remember I went to law school when I was very young, and I was a church girl. And most of my friends, we had been in secondary school together, then went to law school together. They went crazy.
Yes, because, you know, I spoke to like 10 people, and 8 out of 10 gave such opinions.
But I was there. And then there were all these Nigerian guys. Now, you know, the Nigerian guys have money. So my friends, they were like, come on, you're so boring. But I stood my ground. And, you know, I was brought up very strict. So everybody thought definitely when she goes to university, finished, no more church. No, I didn't go to any discos. I wasn't interested in the Nigerian guys. I said, look, I'm here to study. I stood firm in my walk. So it just depends.
So what do you tell the girls who are part of your flock?
You know, I always tell them to carry yourself with dignity. Remember the future, because, you know, those few moments of pleasure, there are going to be consequences for those actions. A lot of my friends who partied with those guys, guess what? They failed law school and had to go into... So some of the things, you know, it looks so glittery and glamorous. And I'm not saying not to have fun. I believe in having fun. Go to the beach, watch movies, but just be balanced. But just remember, whatever you are doing, there are consequences for those actions.
Okay. I am talking to Prophetess Mwaka. We just take this interlude. Woman 360. To celebrate, elevate, and inspire the woman. Women breaking ground in pioneering positions.
It should be analyzed on the merit of what the person is saying, as opposed to maybe what they're wearing.
Give women a space, but we are not going in to occupy that space.
Those that are gone but made a mark.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for being better to me than I've been to myself.
Female entertainers with depth.
Sometimes when you come too strongly with the I'm a woman thing, it sort of makes people uncomfortable. And
never give up on your dream or your passion. Never back down on what you believe.
The male's perspective on female issues.
You have eyebrows, you remove them, why are you having a lot of things, to apply on your face and stuff?
Somebody can't even identify you or recognize you.
The ordinary female with a dream to make a difference.
And I think, empowerment should include every woman, regardless of her background.
Women with life lessons. Now, season 4, loading.
Thank you so much for still watching Woman 360. I am with Prophetess Mwaka. She's giving us, an insight, of course, of what we're dwelling into different women issues, especially when it comes on the global scale. When I hear distinguished, what am I supposed to come? Oh, formal. What qualifies for distinguished?
People ask me that question, and you see, what we teach women is to be distinguished in whatever call they're in, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, a pastor's wife, an administrator. Be distinguished. In other words, be excellent, be present, be the very best you can be.
Okay.
So it's not about coming all dressed up. You can come in t-shirt and jeans.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the talk all about? Because, I say this because of late I've been hearing a lot of talk when it comes to, you see 10, 20 women coming together, there's a talk, there's a conference. People make it seem like it's a feminist movement going on. And, there's other people thinking about what's this fuss about gender, the women, and uplifting each other, like it's being blown out of proportion. What can you say to such a person, especially if you link it to the Distinguished Women Conference?
In fact, what we encourage women is to rise and take their place so that we can complement the men. Because, the men are strong, they're empowered, they have had the opportunities, and women have kind of lagged behind. So this is definitely not a feminist movement. We are not taking over. We are definitely not competing. In fact, we are celebrating womanhood. We love being women. We love being wives, mothers, sisters. But what we are just telling women, rise to the occasion.
1,000 women coming through to talk, to, interact. How do you make it happen? Such a large number come through, you deliver a message, hold their concentration for a whole day.
It's incredible, Judy. And I think it shows that women are hungry. In fact, it was more than 1,000. They turned away like 200. Wow. And I was planning to only be doing it once a year. Those women said, please, prophetess, because they know I come this time, you have to do another one. And we are coming with our sisters, our managers. I'm like, oh my goodness. So that it was from them.
You're having it at the government complex. Where did you have it last time?
Same place, government complex.
When there was shaking with so many women screaming.
Yes. And no one moved. We thought during the break, they'll probably go. Nobody moved. 17 hours, we're like, guys, please go back home, go cook, go do your stuff so that next time your husbands let you come.
Okay.
The hunger is incredible. The desire for mentorship, the desire to be taught is just, it's very touching.
Okay.
Yes.
So, prophetess, as we wind up, you look straight into the camera. What message do you have for the women? Because I think those who are coming through and those who just want, like you talked about, mentoring for especially the younger generation is something that is very vital.
Every woman watching, I want you to know you are valuable. You are significant. There's so much untapped potential in you. You have the capacity. You probably look at me and think, oh my, this great dynamic woman. Once upon a time, I used to be shy. I would not be caught on a set like this. But here I am today because I embraced my identity. And you can never fulfill your destiny if you don't embrace your identity. So stop comparing yourself. You are gifted, you are powerful, you are dynamic. You have what it takes to be great in life.
Prophetess Mwaka, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming through. It's been Woman 360. Thank you so much for staying with us. Join us next week, Sunday, 19:30, for more women information. From the entire crew of Woman 360, I'm Judy Ngulube. Thank you so much.